All right, I can go ahead and kick it
Yeah, I
off.
think we're good to go. Go for
All
it.
right. I'm Rebecca Theophanis. I'm one of the ultrasound faculty at Duke, and this is Lindsay Davis up at BMC. We're the leads for the Staff Education Fellowship Curriculum Subcommittee, and we're going to give a webinar on the fellowship application process for the year and kind of some important details that applicants should know. And this is being recorded if anybody needs to reference any slides or anything later. So we're just going to go over the timeline of the application. So what to look for in a program, the match policies, the actual application, interview tips, and then we're going to have a Q&A with our panelists. So why is there a match process for ultrasound fellowship? It helps standardize things. It keeps things confidential. It makes it equitable and uniform as far as the process and allows informed decisions. And it is a binding commitment. So as far as the timeline, basically during the year before you're applying, you want to, decide that you are going to apply to ultrasound fellowship. You want to find mentors who can write you strong letters of recommendation. You're building up your CV with, projects or things that you may be doing ultrasound or non-ultrasound related, and just show kind of your interest in the field and explain sort of why you want to do a fellowship year. And being a member of SCUF can help. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved in projects um, or sessions, that can help. And then attending any ultrasound conferences, whether we just had SAM last week, for example. Some programs have ultrasound chief role, and also a lot of people will do teaching with students and other learners as part of the ultrasound group. So as far as first steps, kind of now around May to June, you want to create a SCUF account. And here, this is the site where you could do it. If you just look up the SCUF Fellowship site, you can pretty much get to a lot of these links. You can also go on the actual NRMP website, and that has the timeline of dates that we'll go through here. You want to be updating your CV so that you're not having to do everything, all at once last minute. It's a lot. It's easier to just update it as you kind of go along, and then begin writing your personal statement again of why you want to do an ultrasound fellowship and how that's going to fit into your career goals. If your program allows, you can schedule elective time. And also, if you need to travel for interviews, then that can be helpful. And then also identifying your mentors and asking them if they would be willing to write you a letter of recommendation. So in early July, you kind of want to finalize your application, including the CV, the personal statement. You want to submit the letter request on the SCUF application. And then you want to send in your documents to the letter writers. Officially, the application will open on July 1st this year. And from July to early August, you want to upload your application materials to the SCUF website and then select your program, submit your application, which includes the actual application itself, your CV, and 3 letters of recommendation. It is a rolling application, but the earlier it's done, the better, because then you can start getting interviews. And then mid-August, you want to update or create the NRMP account, and the actual match system will open on August 19th of 2026. So you must have an actual NRMP number so that you can be ranked. So the rankings will open in September, September 23rd, and you can rank as you interview. The official rank list deadline is November 4th. So that's an important date to remember. And again, if you have things earlier and then the better. Um, Actual match day where you're notified is November 18th at 12 p.m. So again, these were the important dates on here on the timeline. So kind of what you're looking for in programs. So some things you may want to know or ask questions about. what's the site like, what's their patient population at the hospital or medical center where it is, are there any clinical limitations, and what are the expected hours that you are working, and then what are the expected hours of, the actual fellowship time, where are the sites where you are clinically working versus where is the site where you are doing your ultrasound scans, if it's one site or other sites, like satellite sites, what kind of machines do they have, and what's, their archiving system, how many faculty do they have, and who is involved in the fellowship and teaching, um, what is the UFAC accreditation status. This just is a newer thing in the last couple of years. What's this expected salary, and then what's, sort of the living situation, cost of living. So there's similar things you're looking for when you're applying for a residency. So I'm going to hand it over to Lindsay, who's going to talk about the policies.
Hey, everybody. So I'm just going to talk about some of the SCUF and NRMP policies. So a lot of like acronyms are coming around. So I just wanted to sort of clarify that SCUF kind of houses the application platform itself. So sort of think of this as like the universal application where you can fill out your application, put all your materials in one centralized location, and then you can choose what programs you're applying to and apply from that one location. And then NRMP is the organization that really oversees the match itself. And both of these organizations have policies that you are agreeing to by entering into this process. So it's important to sort of understand what they all are. And there's expectations and requirements both for the applicants themselves and also for programs. So applicants must register for the match if you are eligible. And by and large, the vast majority of applicants are eligible for the match. And we're going to talk later about who might not be eligible for the match, but most people are. You must wait until after match results have been released in order to accept any other positions outside of the match. And importantly, you must fully disclose any academic, personal, or professional situations or experiences that may impact your ability to begin fulfilling your duties on the agreed upon start date. So whether that's issues that might interfere with licensing, might interfere with your employment, might interfere with your fellowship duties, all of those must be disclosed. Only accept interviews that you are intending to fill. And then if you do have to cancel or reschedule, give reasonable notice, which is like 1 to 2 weeks. And then abide by all SCUF and NRMP policies. Next slide. So these are QR codes for the full SCUF applicant agreements and NRMP applicant agreements. I recommend reading through all of this so you know what you are agreeing to. All right. And then expectations for programs are that they provide everyone a sample contract before the rank list deadline so that you know what it is that you're potentially agreeing to. And this should include updated, accurate clinical hours, salaries, compensations, benefits, et cetera. Provide any institutional policies that are related to eligibility for employment, whether that's like specific educational credentialing, anything has to do with licensure, like any specific employment, pre-employment screening, like background checks, et cetera. And then programs must wait until after match results have been released in order to offer any positions outside of the match. So we mentioned match eligibility. Like I said before, the vast majority of applicants will be eligible for the NRMP match and are expected to register for the match and participate in the match. But there are a few populations of people who are not eligible for the match. So some examples are people in the military or applying for military program fellowships. They have their own match process, just for logistical reasons, have their own sort of process of selection. And then this concept of multiple contractual entities. Sometimes this is confusing, but an example of this would be a family medicine physician who is applying for a ultrasound fellowship that is housed in the emergency department. If the family medicine physician is getting their clinical contract from the family medicine department, but the fellowship contract is coming from the emergency department, there's multiple contracts involved. And so they're not really eligible for the match process because of that. If you have any questions about eligibility, because every institution, every situation is going to be a little bit different, feel free to reach out to the NRMP or SCUF. Program directors should know as well. This is very important. It is important to understand that the match is a binding agreement. Once a match has been made, it is a binding commitment between the program and the applicant. Similarly, even if you are outside of the match, accepting a position outside of the match, once a position has been offered and accepted, this is also a binding agreement. And both parties must fulfill their end of the agreement unless there's a waiver granted by both SCUF and the NRMP. Okay, let's talk through the application so that you're familiar with it real quickly. So this is what you'll see when you go to the SCUF website and you go to the login. Basically, you'll be able to log in, create a new account if you don't have one. And then next. Once you log in, this is the home screen. So there's a bunch of information about sort of the process, some deadlines, and then you're going to navigate through the system in this menu on the left. Next. And then most of the application is just very typical demographic information. But I just wanted to draw your attention to a few questions that are a required aspect of the application that are additions and new this year. Next slide. So there are questions about work authorization. Are you legally authorized to work in the US? And do you require any kind of sponsorship or anything for employment authorization? There are questions about felony or misdemeanor offenses. And then next, there's questions about healthcare license infraction, anything that might interfere with being able to get a license in the future. And then here's where you'd enter your NRMP ID once you have that. Many of you will have NRMP IDs from back when you matched in residency, but if you don't, for some reason, or you don't remember what that is, again, as a reminder that NRMP process opens in mid-August. So you might need to go back and fill out your NRMP ID at that point. And then here's where you would upload all of your materials, your CV, your personal statement. All right. So interviews, we just wanted to give some tips and tricks and pointers on interviews. Think of these as phase one of your job interviews, because once you start fellowship very, very quickly, it's going to be time for you to think about what you're doing next year, especially if you're doing a one-year fellowship. And for many of you, if you are going into an academic position or a hybrid position where it's affiliated with academic institutions, you're going to be doing your job applications and interviews with much of the same community that you did your fellowship interviews with. So it's really important to make a good impression right away. So think of these as kind of a continuation of your job interviews. Next slide. Some people ask, is it better to do an early interview or a late interview? The interview season itself lasts several months. And there's pros and cons to both, really. Obviously, an early interview shows that you're really interested, you're ready, your application's all put together. The faculty might be fresher at the beginning of a long interview season, but maybe towards the time when it's time to rank, the memory of the applicant might be a little bit more distant. Whereas late interviews, you get the opportunity to compare more programs, and you're very fresh in the program's memory before you rank. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Pick a date that works best for you, where you are well prepared, and that you can show interest and perform well. Okay, so professionalism one-on-one. You would think that most of this stuff goes unsaid, but every year there's clearly some people that might need a reminder. So we're going to talk about professionalism briefly. Be prepared for your interview, whether it's in person or virtual, and you might have a mix of those throughout the interview season. Show up on time, which means early. Dress appropriately, and this is particularly including virtual interviews. Just because you're not there in person, this is still a job interview, so dress professionally. Don't come to your interview in sweats. Be engaged, and this is feels a little harder if it's virtual, but expectation is cameras on, eye contact, you are listening, you're engaged, you're responsive. And remember that the entire day is part of the interview. So especially if this is an in-person interview, this includes like breaks and downtime and any social events and any like optional things that you attend. Everyone is paying attention. That includes coordinators and other fellows and residents you may meet, and they all have the ability to give feedback, whether it's good or bad. So be aware of your behavior and what you're talking about. Okay, so what are program directors and chairs really looking for in an applicant? Obviously, they're looking for a commitment to focus. This is something that you have thought through and that you want to do, hopefully not like a last minute decision. And you've put some work and thought into this throughout your early residency career. Obviously, chairs want to hire strong emergency medicine clinicians. They want people who work well in teams, who can communicate well, who are reliable and responsible. Um, we, look for people who have career goals, who have thought about why am I doing this fellowship and how does this factor into what my career is going to look like in the next 5+ years. Especially, in fellowship, we look for academic potential. Obviously, teaching and research are sort of required parts of pretty much all fellowships, but experience in those things and interest in leadership, innovation. Um, we look for good program fits in terms of, just your general sort of personality, how you work, what your strengths and weaknesses are, how your letters of recommendation might read. And it's okay if you haven't done a ton of super advanced scanning. It's okay if you come from a place where you're not doing TE or tons and tons of nerve blocks. That is not a problem. As long as you're excited to learn, that's what we care about. So just some quick interview do's and don'ts. In terms of questions, everyone always says, oh, it's good to ask questions at the end of your interview, but not all questions are created equal. And some questions may actually do more harm than good. So be thoughtful about the questions that you ask. Things that I would stay away from are topics that are easily found online. If you could just easily Google this and find the answer to your question, that shows that you weren't very prepared for this interview. Topics that suggest that this job, position, fellowship is not a priority for you, like asking about vacation. And then topics that aren't appropriate for your specific interviewer. Think about who you're sitting across from. I wouldn't ask the chair about like parking or like day-to-day specifics of how the fellowship works. So just be thoughtful about who you're talking to and whether the questions are appropriate for them. Show an understanding if you're interviewing with the chair, show an understanding of what that chair prioritizes and values. And if you don't know, ask about it. So topics that are good to talk to, especially with chairs, are asking about leadership opportunities, barriers, challenges, any future directions or strategic changes that the department may have, or any future goals. What's the relationship with other departments or with hospital leadership, and what are your career development opportunities? Next. And so some examples of good questions, and most of these are particularly for program directors, geared toward program directors, not so much chairs, but asking about, how is scanning and teaching organized? What kind of exposure to advanced applications do I have, or tools for education? What's my role in education, whether it be like med student or resident or ancillary staff? What kind of research and mentorship support do I have? What have prior graduates from the program done? And then if you do have a specific interest or career goal that you're very focused on, asking about how that program can support that interest. Areas that the fellowship is working on to improve. And then particularly for the chair themselves, any anticipated changes to clinical environment at the hospital that you should know about. And good luck and enjoy. Interview season obviously can be a little bit stressful, but it also should be fun. It's going to be a chance to meet all of these like-minded people and your future sort of career colleagues and community in the rest of your career. So do enjoy. Okay. All right, so now it is time for Q&A, and many different ways where you can join in and ask questions. You can either just sort of chime in, take yourself off mute and talk. You can put questions in the chat, and then you can also scan this QR code and enter a question into this Google form, and we'll be monitoring all of that. And our esteemed panelists to answer questions are Dr. Taylor and Dr. Shikuki, so you guys can introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, Lindsay Taylor. Many of you guys will learn to call me LT. I'm the past president of SCUF. And if you guys were at Sano Games, I was running around like a lunatic. But yeah, I'm a program director at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia, and happy to answer and chat about the questions you guys may have.
Thank you. I'm Hamish Hui. I'm the program director at the Mass General Hospital, and I'm the president-elect for
From
SCOF.
France?
So we're going to be here for next year for SCOF, and been fellowship director for more than 10 years in the past. So thank you.
Just some things while you guys were thinking about some questions. I wanted to just what Lindsay was saying. So when I was on my interview season for fellowship, I met many people that I work with today. So we are a small community and an awesome community. You guys are in the right spot because I find these colleagues to be the best. And so I think just knowing that you might maybe not, match at that program, and I still get um, I was going to use the word harassed, but in a joking way, lovingly, by one of my interviewers that I didn't match at his program. But we hug it out now and have been collaborators since. So just think about that when you're interviewing as well. And it's okay if you don't want to necessarily go to their program. But at the same time, we do a lot of collaboration. And especially if you want to get involved in some national projects, just think about that while you're interviewing as well. And then the other thing I was thinking of for fellowship, sometimes you're going to be doing a lot of self-guided learning. Like, yes, you've got your program director and core faculty and people there to help you scan and learn, but really your level of knowledge is the ceiling that you make it. So if you're like, a fellow that's ideal, like Lindsay was saying, is someone who's like really just wants to learn. It's okay if you don't know anything coming into fellowship or, but that you want to learn, you want to be there and we're here to guide you on that. So just wanted to reiterate a couple of those points that she had made.
Also, I've mentioned, as Dr. Taylor mentioned, a few things. One is that we actually SCOF 10 years ago, I think, there was a survey that asked for all program directors what you like about the fellows and they are coming. The number one by far margin was the attitude and just the want to learn. And almost the bottom one was how much ultrasound they know. That's actually surveyed, and it is really true. You don't need to need advanced. You don't need to right after in July that you apply and you started actually just put the like a million things in your CV less than 2 months of doing this, doing that to just have relation to this. That's not helpful. But showing commitment that you already actually do you've been involved in something, you've been doing teaching, you've been doing actually going for conferences for this one, showing that this is not the first, right now you decided all of a sudden I want to be fellow. And that's important. 2 is important, don't self-censor yourself. If you are really feeling the program is good for you, there's all those names. There's a lot of like, oh, that's tough. I don't think I'm going to get there. They already have internal candidate. Always they get internal. Those are assumptions. Okay, feel free to reach out. If you feel the rest of the stuff is work for you, do it. Don't self-censor you, at least at this level. You just say, okay, I'm not probably good or I'm not whatever. You have an assumption you have. And the interview is actually also, as they mentioned earlier, Rebecca mentioned and Lindsay. So it's really a starter much earlier than you think from that moment that you started. The way that you actually interacting when you get this offer at the beginning, the way you're writing, the way you just say, okay, what is happening? You don't need to be faking stuff, but you need to be yourself. And when you are yourself, when you get that one, so you reply nicely, you do this one. And we see a lot of people actually in the conference say, I know it from where I say, oh, I interview with you. Okay, so it's not a big deal. It's just literally not a big deal. It's beautiful, actually. I am working with one fellow that 3 years ago. Actually, we did not rank her. And I'm still right now working with her as an outpatient. Somewhere else is working. So it's not a big deal and it's important. There's no hard feeling either way. So it's a limited time, limited spot. And the very last thing I want to say, the most important thing that is make dissatisfaction in fellowship is not related to the fellowship. So I'm coming to Boston and you are paying twice of the rent for anywhere else you go. All of a sudden we say this fellowship is not good. You are going to not seeing sun in Boston, you say this fellowship is awesome. You just having the problem, you don't want to work in this community hospital, is 1 hour, 2 hours, you need to commute for each time. Every time you go say, what the hell is this, this fellowship? It's just important. And always program director, actually, they try to make sure they talk to you about other stuff. Those other stuff, I call that review of stuff. The review of stuff is important for that fellowship. You're really having problem with that, actually like overwhelming with this all the childcare or some other stuff that's affecting is not separated from your fellowship. Those are matters. So ask about those questions. That is going to help you. And don't go for the TE. Just don't go because they have the TE. TE, million other places you learn it. Okay. My fellowship, I started from scratch. I had nothing myself. Literally, I started with my fellowship director building up a curriculum, what we would do, what we don't do. That was old days, but it's not, there's no program like that anymore. But I'm saying that no fellowship, no new thing, no TE, no neuroblog, no this one, that one. So see commitment, see people really committed to do it, and look for former fellows. Where are they now? Former fellows, important, very important. Reach out to them. Okay, well, I'm gonna go there. Who is the player there? The main player always not the one that actually in the front page. So try to find out who are really I'm gonna go to learn, who's gonna spend time, who's gonna mentor me on that part. So those are the one that main important.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for all that. I'll just start off with some questions that people might have, and we'll keep an eye on all the other chats and stuff. Is there a specific number of letter of recommendation that are required, and are programs looking for specific letter writers? Like, do you need a letter from your chair or from the ultrasound division director?
It looks better at the higher ranking person you could get. If you have even just your residency program director, that usually means, something to me, or some like an APD. And then, yeah, if there is somebody ultrasound in your department that you're at, I think it's good to come from someone in that field. As far as number, I think, and maybe Lindsay, specifically, is it 3? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 3 on the application site.
Allowed for 4, I think.
Yeah, you have the ability to upload, I think, more. I'm not even sure if there's honestly a cap in number, but we don't want 10 letters of recommendation. But yeah, the minimum is 3 for a complete application, but some programs may decide to interview you without a complete application and some may not. So that part's up to the program themselves, but a complete application.
Important about the letter, as Dr. Taylor mentioned, this is all very kind of a small community of people, they know each other. So if you're coming from the Dr. Davis shop and I don't see anything about the Dr. Davis in your letter and something, that always say something. I'm not saying it's bad or good, it's okay. Sometimes it's just like you don't want to get from that, that's fine. But if you can get that, it's just already kind of like a home support. And program director also for residencies always is a higher level. So try to get that, but not necessarily you must have it. Absolutely not.
I heard
go ahead, someone.
On that you mentioned the chair letter. Are you referencing chair of the department or like the ultrasound chair in that of like we should be seeking a letter for?
It depends on who you have a relationship with. It's always good to have a letter from the ultrasound director or fellowship director, somebody with leadership. If you have a good relationship with your actual department chair, then that is good as well. If you don't, then I don't think that's necessarily required.
Do you want to know about the program director standpoint? The chair is not as important as the fellowship director or program director. If you want to compare, yes, the chair is higher level, but in this field, if I'm a program director, I'm looking at that, I really want to know what your program director for fellowship is going, for the fellowship for ultrasound, you're going to talk about it. Because chair always saying good thing, great thing, always, nobody's going to say bad thing. the value that they are putting is a little bit different.
And like Hamid said, from the residency program director, that's also valuable.
Yeah.
Because they know you much better usually than the department chair.
And it goes for your clinical part. Clinical part is very important. That's the part that actually did help a lot in terms of clinical to mention.
Yeah, it is interesting. We don't, we're interviewing you for the fellowship part, but you actually, you're coming here as your first year attending as well. And so, I don't necessarily know how strong the fellows are clinically, and you just, always kind of just hope for the best. So that's just it's kind of a whole separate part of the process here. But the nice part about doing ultrasound fellowship and it not being ACGME is if you're doing well in fellowship, your program might let you moonlight and make a little extra money, and whereas ACGME is kind of capped at their salary and with their work hours. So for that, we like our path of fellowship.
And then I have a
Great.
question just
Yeah.
for the logistics. I'm sure we'll kind of learn as we get into the SCUF application, but I saw where the letters of recommendation will be submitted through the application itself. Are we going to be sending those people things for them to upload it, or will we be requesting the letters back from them to do it ourselves?
They'll get emails directly from SCUF
Okay.
so that they submit. You won't see the letters of recommendation.
Okay.
So they'll be submitted directly by your letter writer. So that also just to keep in mind that if you have a letter writer who's a little bit slow, you have to keep track of whether they've been uploaded and whether your application is complete and send friendly reminders.
Also, I will add that as far as is there a limit on number of applicate programs to apply to? You can apply to up to 10 programs for a single fee is $100. And then if you want to apply to more than 10 programs, that's an additional $10 per program for the STEP application. So you can apply to as many as you want. And also on the website, there are basic demographic details about any programs that gave their information to the SCUP group. You can look that up too on the website if you want to know basic, what are the clinical sites, number of positions available, things like that will be online.
Yeah. So then let me ask Dr. Taylor. Dr. Taylor, if you want to just get the page there, one of the applicant, the first thing that you are just tried really to tease out from your interviewer, your program director, the people they are having, what is actually, what you're looking for? It's just what is important to you personally that you pick this, I'll say, okay, this is the one I want to get them my first interview.
Truly, so we're gonna look at the application first. So it is nice to see. I mean, I can appreciate you're a resident, and your time is very limited, and you have to have the obligatory scholarly project and whatnot. If I see ultrasound you've taught some residents or students, or you got involved in some way during residency, that's a positive. And then honestly, it's your enthusiasm for me. If I feel like you're super excited and want to be a fellow, that is enough to make me very excited, because I want someone who is self-motivated and excited to be here and wants to even push us to a different level, right? We've been doing it for a little while. We try to get some fresh energy, and you guys are the future. So it's nice when you guys come in excited and wanting to learn and wanting to teach a different way, or if you're into, bioinformatics or whatever your internal niche is within ultrasound, or just your love, let's bring it. Let's take that to the next level. If you're into research, or there's a lot of different avenues also within ultrasound that we can take it. So any kind of excitement really just gets me passionate about one of you guys as an applicant.
Anybody? Well, Dr. Davis, you want to mention that one? What do you think? What do you want really from them?
I mean, I totally agree. I want someone who's super passionate, wants to be there. Also someone who's like seems like easy to work with, like is like helpful, like wants to go the extra mile, takes feedback well, and is really just like there to improve themselves and improve our division. Yeah.
Rebecca, do you want to just comment on this? What your priority is for this?
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines, the enthusiasm, the willingness to work with the team. Our program is more education. Well, now we have research too, because I'm the lead research faculty, but education research focused. Just see what the other faculty member are doing there at the program, and if they have the opportunities available that you want. And as she said, think of it as your initial, job interview. If that's a place you want to stay afterwards, think more long term than just that 1 year. Think about where you want to build your career and what direction you want to go. Because fellowship year, it's a unique opportunity for me and a lot of people. It's like the best year, I feel like, of your career, because you have time to do the other things that you enjoy doing, learning, teaching, innovating. And so the biggest thing is, just being comfortable with the people you're working with.
Excellent. Any of the program directors here? I'm sorry, I don't know all of the names, but if any program director want to just mention what their priorities for them, please feel free to say it. If not, then I'm going to say what I just actually prioritize. So then I did that for probably 13, 14 years of the fellowship directors, did a lot of them on different situations. For me, the number one, because most of the time the chair is put you in charge of recruiting these fellows and whole full responsibility come to you. So typically first thing I want to make sure that clinically they can work in my place. So that's number one, that for us, for really, if we know there is a program or something that is, there is some situation that we think or we know that is not going to be matched with the terms of the clinical, that's one thing. Two, we try to really, I don't want accomplishment. I don't want you to just say, okay, I'm 10 article published during the residency, not necessarily top line for it. But showing that it's constantly you're doing something about the ultrasound, in your brain is some wiring about the ultrasound. That's all wiring. I don't want a result of that wiring. Don't want to say, okay, you've been there, you presented abstract, perfect. But we all know what abstract mean, what the publication mean, what other thing mean. Yes, you say, okay, you are excited, you started you guys all know one of these colleagues that came to us, and he's the only co-founder of Atlas. So I died to get him in my program, but he had to go for family reasons somewhere else. But we have agenda. He accomplished something that was unique. I knew how potential this one has and how I can help mentor them and just help them to just get a lot. Every program you go, about 70% of fellowship, you are getting it. You want to go somewhere that you get 120% out of your 100%. So that 120%, those are opportunities that you are just getting into that, oh, I need to be with Dr. Davis. I need to be with this group, that group. That's the reason that you are going. Those are extra because all of them being exposed to ultrasound, you are good at the scanning, you're good at teaching. The R&D are not going to be short. Yes, plus minus, you're going to be researching. So those are the priority, not like, oh, but if you are going to say, okay, absolutely, I'm not really interested in research. And you're saying it. I know how hard it is as a fellow not to research, but you are here to be part of it, to taste it, to expose to that. But you're blocking it like 100%. I don't want to. I'm all about teaching. Yes, we know that's perfect. That's great. I'm all about innovation and I want to do this one, that one. Those are narrowing down at the beginning is not good. And I'm saying with the example, that was the reason that person was like, they unanimously, the people that have been rejected unanimously with all faculty, Those are the one that exactly just say that. Literally, the word was, research is not in my gene. You don't say that in the interview. Why you just need to just like say such a thing? Okay, I know why we cannot accomplish. You are more interested in this or that one. The second one that rejected, come with the T-shirt. That T-shirt was even writing something on it. That was just weirdo. Okay, so everything was okay, but even really did not get the next level because of T-shirt issue. Okay, well, I'm just saying it that out loud that you guys know what I'm talking about. Third one I had that was, these are unanimous. Everybody say no, no, no. So the next one was one of the best. Okay, I won chief resident, chief ultrasound, and I had high hope. This was my almost before getting in here was the first rank. Getting to the hospital, saying every single word that why are you guys want to hire me? Like interested. Oh no, academic, I'm not even interested. I'm just really want to go somewhere and just get in a community that I do my shift and maybe a little bit better on ultrasound this one. Interested in this, interest no. Why? She got really was she had the flu at that day. She was post call. I knew that for a fact because I worked with her. I tried to get her. Was post call, just like after the shift, come to the interview, sitting over there 2 hours. We try to show off on some cases, show off the like, yeah, 45 minutes, 1 hour. These all the cases, this way. They would do a lot of discussion about this. Okay, the cases that show that this is academic sleeping, the camera was off, and then came back to the talk. That person did not even get to the rank. Literally, my B4 ranking was my first rank, and that did not even get through the S1. And everybody, again, myself, I knew this is not her, but I can't defend it because everybody else is saying what. So, and those are the ones that I see that red line, but I'm seeing my program a lot of self-censoring. I'm not saying I'm good, okay? I'm just like try to just get that assumption away from you. Okay, so different level, different voice coming from what? Coming from this residence. You did that one, that one. Really, that's just assumption. If it's fit with you, you want to be working in Boston, you want this one, you come and work on. I'm not advertising for my program, but yes, you are just in Chicago. You just don't think that you need to go there, and just expose yourself and understand that.
Great, thanks. It looks like we have a question about interviews, like programs offering both virtual and in-person interviews. Is there a priority? Should the applicant be prioritizing one over the other? Are you going to get like sort of mentally, subconsciously dinged if you do a virtual program interview? And then sort of linked to that would be like, are there opportunities for second look? Is that something that programs offer?
I think if they offer both, it's fair game to do either. Oftentimes, our program will just follow what the residency is doing with their interview season. So if they're still doing virtual, we'll just stick with virtual. If they switch back to in person, we'll go to in person. So if they offer both, pick whatever's easiest for you. We know you're not, in the financially best spot, just from your residency salary, so that's okay. I know programs are just doing back to in person, so you'll have to kind of pick and choose that. And then as far as second look, it should be for you. We all know, it's not supposed to mean anything from a program side. I would be probably lying to say, it does show interest if you're showing up for a second look. But if you interview with us in virtually, how do you know if you like Richmond if you haven't been here before? So I totally respect the second look from your guys' perspective and needing to know, like, am I a good fit there? What's the actual community look like? Would I want to move my family there? So I think the second look is completely up to you. I'm sure it does have a little bit of weight to the program, but we've matched people that haven't done second looks as well. It's not an end all be all.
So my take on this one is a little bit different. If you are really super excited and you want to be in that program that they're offering you both, you really want to be there. If you are just, when you get there, you're going to just say, oh, I'm matching here, blah, blah, blah. So that's the excitement you have, better to go. Okay, it's better to go in person, see the situation, see the clinical. They are having a little bit of show off. They all do it, all of them. But but he's not going to take against you, especially if you have, if you don't want to expose yourself too much for any reason. So virtual, pick that one. And so nothing against you. There, nobody say because I offered to come that for, like we all understand, everybody understand how difficult it is to travel, to do this, to do that, with the shift, with this, like 20 more per program to do all of them. No, nobody expect if you are just not taking virtual over in person, that means you are not interested. No. But if you are, for you, yourself, if you are excited about this specific program and you really want to get there, I prefer to just do it in person.
Somebody asks if you are interested in specific locations or programs, are there preferred ways to show interest? For example, sorry, I can't. Reaching out to the program director to explain why, speaking to prior fellows at that program, trying to get an elective rotation there, etc.
So the question is if they are interested in a specific program?
Yeah, if they're interested in a specific location or program, I guess what are the best ways, or are there preferred ways of sort of making that clear?
Yeah, like following up. Yeah, I mean, there's always the follow-up email. Handwritten letters were back in my day, but I don't know if we're doing that anymore. I'm totally fine with an email personally, but that's an extra touch for sure. Yeah, I think just kind of staying engaged. If you know that the program is going to be at SCUF or at SAM or ASEP, wherever you're going to be, go up to that fellowship director or the team and, shake their hands, say, hey, we met, or, if you haven't met them in person. So, we're definitely, most of us are doing something probably elsewhere as well. Just stay engaged with the program, I guess, would be my kind of take on that.
So I suggest not to go for rotation. If you want to go place to that one, because that level you are going as a resident and you are not taking as the first year attending role when you are interacting. So it's not necessary. They don't, as I said earlier, they don't need your talent on how to do a scan. They really don't need to know how to integrate it in this one. If that's not the case, and that's not the time to learn. If you want to go for fellowship, that's 4 days, 5 days that you put the rotation to go there, that's not going to go much. People, they don't have different schedule, they don't have time for you. Your first half a day is going to be highly this, and the rest of it is how you showing up. Yeah, you're going to just give it like 2 hours of you guys have a conference that week, any of the conference I can show up and talk. Perfect. That's done. But not go and started learning from them. Did you assume that you're coming good already? And the rest of them, 100%. If you really pick that one, I prefer to know. I'm not going to say that. I'm not allowed to say that, Dr. Taylor. So if I am interested in your program, say, you are one of my top list or something, or not necessarily say that I rank you or something, but show that goes a long way, actually. So if you say, I think that's really deal. If I know this person is my person, when I'm ordering the rank, that's a little bit different.
Any last burning questions from the crowd?
I don't see anything else in the chat or the Google Forms.
Well, if anyone has questions along the way about the logistics of the application, if you email, actually the next slide, Rebecca has the SCUF info email address. So if you email SCUF, there you go. Someone will respond. And also NRMP also is easy to get in touch with. And then, of course, you're welcome to email any of us to ask questions about our programs or about advice or whatever. We're all very happy to field questions and help you guys out.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.